He was upset about it. Well, no, you were talking crazy in that group chat show. Like,
I was
well,
poking the bear.
I know you were. Let's not lie here. You were wilding out too. Yeah. And hockey.
Yes, sir.
Welcome back, everyone. This is episode 100 of Stick Talk Hockey.
Bwah, 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 bwah.
We hit a buck.
How sweet it is.
Isn't that crazy? A whole 100 episodes. Back in the chair today, we have our producer. Welcome back, Big J.
Thanks for having me.
Round of applause. Whoa,
Happy to be back.
Happy to have you.
It's been a hot minute.
It has indeed.
Super hot minute.
We have not been in all of us in this room in over a month.
Too long.
Way too long.
Back in the cut.
How was the trip?
It was good.
Yeah.
Grand Prairie, boring ass place.
Yeah, that don't shock me.
Nah, like everybody there is just a miserable person. I'm happy to be home.
Yeah, it's good to have you back.
It was a good time though. It was real relaxing and whatnot.
That's crazy because I hadn't seen you since before I went to Mexico. Even that's crazy.
Oh yeah. How was your trip to Mexico, by the way?
My trip to Mexico was fantastic.
Yeah. Is there any highlights you'd like to share with?
I
the
did
room?
Get engaged in Mexico.
Woo! Woo!
Golf claps.
Congrats. I actually never said that to you. Congrats.
Yeah. I really appreciate it. Yeah, that was really special. Got engaged in Mexico to my wonderful fiance Carly. Had Jacob and Abby there. They got some fantastic pictures. It was right at the beginning of the trip. We had the whole week to celebrate. It was really special.
Rake in all of the rewards.
Yeah,
so
all
to
the
say.
benefits.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, by the way, my friends just got engaged.
Yeah, shout out to them for that, for hitting that a couple times. Got us some free stuff and whatnot. That was it was really beautiful. As always, I'm your host Tico. This is my co-host.
I'm yours, Trilly.
And holy cow, 100 episodes. We are here with the trade deadline just wrapped up hours ago. What a day.
What a day. Compared to some of the other trade deadlines, which were sluggish and boring, and we ended up sitting in here going, whoa, what do you want to talk about?
Do you want to talk about Troy Stetcher for a 7th round pick? Again?
Oh, boy. Let's talk about Eric Branson
getting
moved for the umpteenth time.
No, this one had fireworks.
It was one of those things where it was like, I don't really know where to start, so I guess we'll just start from the beginning.
Yeah, like back before the trade deadline, your favorite player moved.
Juuso Parssinen?
While we were recording the pod last week, actually, or I guess just after.
Oh, Gustav Nyquist.
Nyquist on the move from Nashville. Nets only a second? Maybe you were right.
Oh, what do you mean only a second? This is an expensive market where people are overpaying left, right, and center. This is a 4th any other time.
But the market hadn't been set yet.
I mean, it kind of had.
Like, I mean, the only trades we really had before this were like the JT Miller trade, which was obviously like not really in comparison to the rest of what happened. That was really what kicked off deadline week, was that Goose trade.
Yeah. I mean, the New York and Colorado trade was a day before, or like a few
like
hours before, honestly. Like,
yeah, it was around the same time.
It was a hockey trade though, so it doesn't really count.
Not really the same
eyes.
kind of deadline buy sell thing.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. A second, yeah,
sure.
He's not that anymore. He's 35. He's playing terribly.
Yes.
And I mean, like, he was never that good. He set a career high. And
the Goose Slander's already back.
An unbelievable career high. He had like 76 points.
Yeah.
There's some guys that get pissed off at 76 points. This guy was like probably popping champagne. He probably had a great vacation with the wife. He was like on yachts and just, woo.
But like 76 points in the NHL is a feat.
It is until you're, playing next to Forsberg and Ryan O'Reilly and whoever else, because they have no one else to play beside him. So,
all right. Well, we got a lot to go over this episode. We're not getting back into the Goose debate, okay? I hope he pops off in Minnesota just so we can keep coming back to this dang guy, him and Oli Mata.
No, I was gonna say don't need him or Oli Mata anymore.
But then, the Seth Jones trade was like kind of the other pre-deadline big one, right? Seth Jones goes to the Florida Panthers with that big old contract. Chicago's retaining 26% of it. Quite the number. Spencer Knight coming back and a conditional 2026 first round pick, along with the fourth going to Chicago. Spencer Knight out the gate hot, stops 41 of 42 in a win for Chicago.
Good for him. An emotional speech after too.
Yeah.
Just talked about how he always loved playing in Chicago. The building's one of the best, and it was just a really what a moment, especially
spectacular
for Chicago that's had such a bad year.
Yeah,
that was really cool.
That was it was great to see. I really like the trade for Chicago. You get off the contract, yeah, you retain some of it. It is tough retaining on that. As much as I said that they should, it is like it's a lot of years that's taking up one of your 3 retention spots. You know what I mean? That kind of sucks. But you had to make it work. You get a first and you get a goalie that, he might just be mid, but he's also a very high upside goalie that's still young.
Absolutely.
Love it.
It's a lottery pick that you kind of need to make right now.
Yeah.
You can't just be bouncing around like 32-year-old goalies that have never really done much and hope to build something. It brings some youth to the locker room. It brings some character, and it adds another future. I know they said they weren't interested in futures, but like, bullshit, whatever.
Yeah.
You need them.
Yep.
You suck.
Yeah.
Like, it took Edmonton how many tries?
Yeah, a lot of them.
Exactly. And getting off of the Seth Jones thing is great. And I mean, you signed him, so you're probably going to have to retain on him. You should have known you were going to retain on that contract at some point when you signed it.
Yeah, you had to figure you were either retaining on it or buying it out at some point.
Yeah. You would have been smoking on hopium to think otherwise. Like, there's no way that this guy was playing out that contract entirely. Yeah. It's just not feasible.
There are times where I think the Chicago Blackhawks front office may be smoking on something. So, that's very much in the realm of possibility. Good for the Panthers. That's one of those guys similar to the OEL trade pickup last year, where it's like, oh, okay, this is a guy who, in an environment like Florida, is probably just gonna be nasty.
Absolutely. I've seen a lot of Seth Jones slander lately.
Yeah.
I want to remind people that he is a very, very capable two-way defender that keeps players to the outside and limits scoring chances inside of the slot regularly.
Yeah.
He is a top-tier defender playing on a miserable goddamn team.
Miserable.
And he's completely exposed playing 25 minutes a night against or with kids that are completely over their heads.
Yeah.
This is going to be a fantastic pickup for Florida, in my opinion, just because they have another person to command the power play.
Yeah, for sure. Next big trade up there would have been that Tampa Bay trade. That trade was on the 5th, again, a couple days before the deadline, and that's when this really turned into deadline season, I feel like. Tampa Bay loading up a little bit. They bring in Oliver Bjorkstrand. They get Yanni Gord back along with a 5th-round pick. They send out 2 firsts, a 26 first and a 27 first, along with a 2025 second, and Michael Eyssimont, something like that. Yeah, Tampa. Red alert, y'all. Danger season.
They're back.
They might very well be back. Jay, you're on the train, no?
Big time.
Big time. They get a guy, Yanni Gourde, a guy that they're very familiar with, very high work rate player. Oliver Bjorkstrand. I think a lot of people around the league know what his game is like at this point. He kind of does a little bit of everything for you. And, you get a right-handed shot that can give the puck to Kucherov in that lane, which they've needed.
Yes, no, absolutely. He's a pretty damn decent skater. He has really solid numbers across the board. The only thing that he struggles with is the power play, and they have enough of that already.
Yeah.
Their power play one's loaded. If you really need depth, you can stack them on your power play too, and you'll still be fine. I really like what he brings to the team. Same with Yanni Gourde. I think that he hasn't necessarily looked as good as he may have looked before he left.
No, certainly not.
But he's going back to a team that knows how to utilize him to his strengths and really bring out that elite game from him.
Yeah.
It's
that John Cooper, right?
Absolutely.
It's the coach that just coached that Canada team to gold, And it was a Canada team that I worried had a little bit too much Yanni Gourde. And John Cooper got a win out of it. So, it's hard to bet against it at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he's 32, and he's not a fantastic skater by any means, but he works hard everywhere he goes,
he's
and
a dog.
He absolutely, and he knows what it takes to get done in the playoffs. And
100%.
Tampa's gonna have to rely on the experience this year.
Yeah,
because it's stacked,
and they needed depth. They needed it.
Yeah, and it's a stacked division.
Yeah, it is. 100%.
Never mind conference. When you expand that conversation, it gets nastier.
I don't know. I think the Metro sucks. Honestly.
Rude.
I do. What's going on in the Metro?
What do you mean, what's going on in the Metro? What's going on in the Pacific?
Jack Hughes died.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll get to that later. I
Mikko
don't want to
Rantanen,
talk about that
Mikko
right now.
Rantanen is no longer a part of that conference. Carolina Hurricanes got worse. New Jersey Devils don't have Jack Hughes because he's dead. Who else is in the Metro?
Caps.
Exactly. That's it.
Rangers.
Okay. Come on now.
You don't respect the Rangers. You don't respect the Rags, the blue shirts.
Use your head. No.
Well, what about Detroit? Come on.
No. The Metro ain't got it. Metro ain't got it. The Atlantic is nasty. This Tampa Bay trade was when at first I was like, oh, did that make this market crazy? 2 firsts. Holy camole. But that is kind of what Tampa does, like going back to the Hagel trade. And what was the other one where
Tana
Jeannot, where they just dropped the house for him?
That was crazy.
Yeah.
I still can't believe that happened. That's such a massive overpay.
It is, but does it matter?
No.
It still hasn't mattered.
What was that quote? He dropped bar of the year earlier.
There's more regret in not trying than trying and failing. Some shit like that. I know what you're saying though.
Yeah, he dropped the bar of the century. It was like there's more to regret in failing than failing to try.
Factual.
That goes so hard.
And you know what though, Tampa, this is what I like about Tampa. They, similar to a few other teams out there, they know who they want. And then it doesn't matter. You got to pay an extra first round pick, an extra 2027 first. Who cares? Get your guy.
If you plan to be good for that long anyways, it's going to be a 20+ pick anyways.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So I don't know. Tampa kind of always overpays a little bit. And look, it's gotten them 2 cups and extra finals on top of that and a wagon this year. Good for them.
Yeah. I'm not really going to knock this too much. I understand why people might complain that it started to really mess up the market, but I think a lot more teams are going to be thankful that happened.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of beneficiaries.
It turned into a seller market pretty quick right when that happened.
Speaking of beneficiaries, Jay, we got to talk. because boy, goddamn howdy, am I impressed with Kyle Dubas and the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Oh, Kyle Dubas.
Boy, KD.
And this is where it started,
KD.
is the Michael Bunting 4th-round pick out the door to Nashville for Tommy Novak and Luke Schenn.
It did start there.
When this first happened, I was like, what the hell's happening? Why? Like, just why?
Yeah.
I don't understand. But then if you flash forward 2 days, Kyle Dubas then goes and flips Luke Schenn for a 2nd and a 3rd to Winnipeg.
Yeah.
That's clean work.
That is very clean work from Mr. Dubas.
And then on top of that, he moves 2 other pieces in Cody Glass.
Yep.
And Jay.
Anthony Beauvillier.
Bingo.
For a second.
For a second.
It's crazy.
A year ago, he got traded for a 5th.
And a year before that, he got traded with a 2nd for future considerations. Yeah.
That's clean work. So he walks out of this, like, all in total with 2 seconds, 2 thirds, a 5th, an NHL ready player in Tommy Novak, basically NHL ready, considering how bad the Penguins are. You're going to be getting service from him right away.
Sure.
And then 3 solid prospects.
Yeah.
That's really impressive.
I know. Yeah. 100%.
And I wanted to save this for later in the show, but it just came up in the timeline, so we may as well get it out of the way now.
Yeah.
I know that everyone wants to say, oh, Dallas was the winners. Oh, Florida was the winners. I think the real winners here were Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh saw a window with a vulnerable market and an arms race that was just ready to explode.
Yeah.
And they made it work. It takes a lot of guts to make this many moves, especially this quick.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Yeah.
I'm so unbelievably impressed with Pittsburgh. I mean, and that's like, it's a cookie, obviously. Like, the real winner is going to be the one that wins the cup. That's what we do the deadline for. But on the losers end of the spectrum, they're the winners of the losers. Make sense?
Winners of the sellers, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're the winners of the sellers.
The winners of the losers. I meant what I said.
All right. Well,
we just summed up this whole trade.
Yeah, I like it. Y'all added Brian Dumoulin.
I did, because I wanted to tie this in with the Jack Hughes is dead thing.
Yep, he is.
Very unfortunate. Let's get this out of the way now too, because let's rip the Band-Aid off. Jack Hughes is dead. That sucks. He's not coming back until preseason next year.
Yeah, that's tough. Another shoulder too.
Yeah. Went back to the same place to get operated on again. You sure that's a good idea? Whatever. I digress. I'm playing. I know. Tongue in cheek. But
I don't know. I thought giving a second away for Brian Dumoulin was a move for sure.
Well, my idea is that Siegenthaler's now been officially ruled out for the season. He's done. Womp. Okay. So there goes your shutdown D.
Yeah.
And then Hamilton is week to week for quote unquote a significant time frame.
Yeah.
Which could be LTIR to playoffs, or it could be past playoffs.
Yeah.
They haven't given a lot of information, but it doesn't sound like we should expect him to play out the rest of the season, given that there's 2 weeks left. 3?
Yeah.
So. And whether you like it or not, you've played too well to not get to playoffs. And you have to have enough living, breathing, playoff eligible bodies there. And I mean like everyone's playoff eligible, obviously. I mean like playoff eligible in the sense that like you're not just gonna get absolutely dog walked. Because
I get it, but like I don't buy it. Like, you know, a couple moments later, Carson Soucy got traded for less than that. Yeah. You could have got cheaper bodies. I know you just I think you got to punt the season at that point. When Jack Hughes is done for the year, you're cooked.
I think that it was virtually a punt to the season. I'm not super moved
Yeah.
With a lot of the moves that the Devils made, and we'll keep getting into that as we
go
through it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it was a steep market, and that's kind of what you do when you pull the trigger early. I'm sure if he waited and let the market simmer out until, later on in the day, things might have been different. But then you also run the risk of losing your guy. And if that's the guy that you're dead set on, again, like what did we just say? Like,
tough guy to be dead set on. That's all I'm going to say about that.
As gruesome as his offensive numbers have been, Brian Dumoulin surprisingly has some pretty decent defensive metrics for being on such a team. He has a 76% WAR in even strength defensive numbers. That's pretty impressive. You're gonna lose the next 15 games and you don't have your first. I don't think they do.
No, so why give your second up for Brian Dumoulin?
Because it's gonna be a late second anyways.
Not that late.
Yeah, you know what? That's just the risk you run when you buy early in a trade deadline. But if that's your guy, that's your guy, and
I know I just said the same thing, but like Tampa has good reason to buy. When you just found out your number one player is going down for the entire season, that's not the time to buy. It's just not.
Which is why they didn't do any like massive retools. And again, we'll keep going into it. I mean, they got a third line center, but like that's just because we literally have no other centers. There's no one to play it.
Yeah. Just seems like a pick that could be better utilized trading it at the draft than wasting it on a defenseman that's going to get you into your first round loss to Carolina this year.
Yeah, I also kind of wonder if they're preparing to launch Nemec out of a cannon. He's looked really, really bad since they gave him a shot. He's not looked good at all.
No.
No. I think that they might just be ready to pivot on that entirely as well.
I
mean, the way he's looked, I don't want him playing in playoffs.
No. The Devils, we've talked about this a couple different times now. Tough scenes when it comes to developing defensemen.
Yeah. It's hard to ignore it now at this point.
Yeah. Jonesy, your favorite player, Riley Smith, on the move.
You notice how we don't even have a Riley Smith graphic?
We don't.
Nobody gives a
You're not wrong.
In fact, do not have a Riley Smith graphic. You are correct. But he's going home, back to Vegas. Nets a third and Brendan Brisson, along with 50% retention from the Rangers. I just thought we had to bring that up because we had to bring Riley Smith up. That's all.
I think it's really interesting that the team nobody can stand is also the only team that can tolerate Riley Smith. Just,
he liked being there.
They liked having him.
No, keep going.
You don't want to talk about Carson Soucy in the third?
You know what? I want to do a bit of a take about that, but later.
Fair. Valid. Okay.
And then Brock Nelson gets traded. One of the big dogs on the block gets traded to the Colorado Avalanche, along with William Defoe. And in return,
Defoe.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe. And in return gets Oliver Killington to the New York Islanders, along with Callum Ritchie, 2026 first round pick and a conditional 2028 third round pick. So Colorado Avalanche, they're not done. They're not punting anything. Nate just joins the team. He's been electric. Lose Rantanen, doesn't seem to matter. They're humming along right now. You add Brock Nelson, who's 38 going on 94. And, yeah. Great.
I think that's fantastic, honestly. Brock Nelson can play some puck.
Absolutely can.
I don't care how much touch of gray that guy uses every morning.
Yeah.
He could bathe in icing sugar for all I care.
That's right.
He looked like he's hunting for silver and gold because this guy can absolutely generate chances. It's incredible the way that he's still, at his age, is able to make defense pairings look so silly.
Yeah.
And find such open one-timers.
100%. It was really interesting to see the Islanders actually decide to do something. Shout out to Lou Lamoriello, finally living some life a little bit in his glory days here. Exciting stuff. That was an exciting trade, and it makes the Avalanche even more exciting than they were. They then go a little bit later the next day on deadline day this morning. They add Charlie Coyle from the Boston Bruins, the Colorado Avalanche do, along with a 5th-round pick for Casey Middlestat, William Zellers, and a 2025 second. Boston finally commits to the rebuild. We'll get into that a little bit later, it looks like. However, those Colorado Avalanche, they add some veteran presence down the center there, and the center depth, a lot less worrisome than it was a week ago.
Absolutely. And I really like this trade. I really do.
Yeah.
And I've seen it get picked apart already because Charlie Coyle has some really, really bad numbers with Boston.
Yeah.
He was playing so over his head, it's not funny. He's a 3C.
Absolutely.
He's just a 3C.
And now he gets to be.
He's exactly what we diagnosed 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
He's a perfect 3C over his head 2C. Love it.
Like, I'm not going to lie to you. This Colorado forward group looks good now. Lehkonen, McKinnon, Natchez, Nichushkin, Nelson, Durant, Logan O'Connor, Charlie Coyle, Ross Colton. I mean, look, I don't have a lot of problems with this.
I really like Jimmy Vesey as an ad too. He's a player I just have a soft spot for. He works hard all the time.
I've always liked Jimmy Vesey.
And there's just nothing beyond the roster looking really good. It makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
The issue I have so often with trade deadlines is that the rosters don't make sense. It's like, sure, you got the best guy out there, but was he the best guy for you? Because it doesn't. I don't know where you're gonna put him.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's hard not to get trigger happy around the deadline. It happens around free agency as well, right? These are the kind of 2 days a year where people make really brash decisions in front offices.
Nashville.
Yeah. Indeed. But I like seeing a team like Colorado and like Tampa Bay as well, like we talked about, getting the pieces that they know will fit on that team.
Absolutely. And I really like the return for Boston.
Yeah.
I think that they maximize their profit, and I really like Will Zellers as a prospect.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Beauvillier. Did we talk? We just talked about Beauvillier, did we not? Yeah, we did.
Have Wallman before that. No?
Yeah. Oh, right, the big one. TSN does have it listed as a major trade. Jake Wallman did go to the Edmonton Oilers late last night for a conditional 2026 first-round pick and Carl Berglund. What I really get out of this is what I sent to the group chat immediately. Yzerman, disaster class. Woof. This dude, you gave away with a second to get off his contract 1 year ago. Not even 1 year ago.
And he wasn't playing that bad.
He wasn't good.
But he was on second line minutes on a terrible team.
Yeah.
And he's an offensive defenseman. Like, looking at an offensive defenseman and going, oh, his defensive metrics are bad. It's like, yeah, of course, he's not shut down.
And like immediately, like as soon as that happened, the first trade, it was like other GMs around the league were like, we would have paid you for him. Why did you do that? And then you turn around and you get a first for him months later. Oh boy.
Some good work from San Jose.
Can we if I wish my phone wasn't recording, I wish we could FaceTime Jackson right now.
He was defending it. He was defending it in the group chat too.
He was upset about it. Well, no, you were talking crazy in that group chat show. Like,
I was poking the bear.
I know you were. Let's not lie here. You were wilding out too. Yeah.
Your rage bait for Jackson is crazy, dude.
It is true. You be like
talking crazy.
It's not even real. Like
sometimes I just like get really high and then I think about like just the most insane I can, and then I'm like, that would make someone mad. Let's talk about it.
And that someone is always Jackson Batman.
Usually.
Yeah. Andrei Kuzmenko, he gets a third. That experiment didn't last long.
You called it.
Yup. Off to LA he goes with a seventh. They get a third back along with retaining 50% of Kuzmenko's salary. Yeah, don't know what to tell you. That was very clearly something that wasn't going to work. Unfortunately, it's not going to work for the LA Kings either. What I will say is Andrei Kuzmenko is living proof that no trade clauses and no move clauses do not matter. I hate when people say that, the no move thing, the no trade thing. Can't move him, he's got a no trade. Can't move him, he's got a no move. Yes, you can. Andrei Kuzmenko has a no trade clause. This is his fourth team in 2 years.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah. They just keep asking him, and he just keeps going, yeah, whatever, man.
I hate it here.
Yeah. I mean, JT Miller as well. Full new move, massive contract. You moved it.
Easy.
They can happen.
Honestly, I'm not going to say I'm super high on this move, but I do feel like the Kings works for Kuzmenko. Because like they have so many responsible ass guys,
right?
And they kind of just need that like finishing touch that Kuzmenko can, on occasion, bring.
He definitely can bring it. You just have to wonder: is it more touch of scoring, or is it more Pierre-Luc Dubois?
Interesting comparison. Really interesting comparison.
I'm not trying to compare the two players at all, but like sometimes having a different guy in the room can bring you that thing that your team's missing. Other times it can be a wrench in a system that works. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think this, ironically, will probably work really well for the Kings, just to offer some pushback. And my only reasoning is this. I read a scouting report today. Actually, I read multiple. And all of them compared Andrei Kuzmenko to the worst skater in the league. They're like, bar none, the worst skater in the offensive selections.
Okay.
Would rank him in the bottom 10.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter when you're LA because they play the trap. They play such boring,
it's pretty close to the trap, that's for sure.
Structured hockey.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a modern trap, but like you may as well call it what it is, right? Like
yeah.
The dude's pretty rough around the edges, but when you're playing such a rigid system, who the hell cares?
Yeah. I love Andrei Kuzmenko. One of my favorite players that I've gotten to cheer on as a Canucks fan in a very long time. Like that WAR scorecard from Jay Fresh is hilarious. The guy is good at absolutely nothing, yet has an 87% WAR ranking because he finishes like he's Pavel Bure.
95% finishing is crazy.
Andrei Kuzmenko is genuinely the ultimate Russian. Is that not the most Russian player of all time?
How do you mean?
Like, just does nothing but finish.
Ovechkin.
Thank you.
Is the most Russian player ever.
Okay, but like, sure. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Kuzmenko's the most Don Cherry stereotypical Russian player ever.
Yes.
Oh, look at this guy. Tell you he doesn't skate. He does a back check.
That's what I'm saying. Like the most like stereotypical when you think of like a Russian player as like a Don Cherry type. There is probably no player in the NHL right now that Don Cherry hates more than Andrei Kuzmenko.
True.
And I love him for it. I love the guy. I hope he does well there. This NHL season has been as predictable as a puck rolling on its edge. No one knows where it's going. But that just means there's time for your favorite team to figure things out and games left for you to get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL.
It's super easy for first-timers to get started. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, and place your first bet. And if you're new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in New Hampshire, Oregon, and Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball. NFL Plus Premium offer available only to new and former NFL Plus subscribers. Additional NFL Plus Premium terms at nfl.com/terms.
Next up, big trade. Major trade. This one I think we can actually qualify as a major trade. Ottawa Senators and the Buffalo Sabres. The Ottawa Senators send Josh Norris and Jacob Bernard-Docker to the Buffalo Sabres. Coming back, Dylan Cousins, Dennis Gilbert, and a 2026 second-round pick. Were we just singing Josh Norris's praises on this podcast last week?
I'm pretty sure we were.
I think we were.
If we weren't, then it was the group chat.
Yeah, I don't think it was on the pod. I actually, I'm sorry, I didn't watch the pod last week, but I don't even know.
All right, whatever, Jay. No.
But it definitely was in the group chat.
No, I'm officially in wait and see mode on this one because off rip, don't like it.
I don't like it either. I don't like it for Ottawa. I don't get it.
Me neither.
You're looking down the barrel of playoffs for the first time in God knows how long.
Forever, yeah.
Your fan base is withering rapidly. Faith has depleted. Your organization has been nothing short of turbulent.
Yes.
Why would you make this trade? I understand being nervous about an injury history, but that absolutely should not matter when it comes to this kind of question mark in Dylan Cousins.
See, like, I don't really think on paper this is a bad move for Ottawa because I don't really think Dylan Cousins is a huge question mark. I think he's going to be quite good. And I understand the idea that Josh Norris has never played a full season in his career. Well, a full 82 games, sorry, because I think he did play every game of the shortened season. But I understand that conceptually. However, Travis Green and the Ottawa Senators have made Josh Norris such an integral part of that team's identity this year. And I have been privately in our messages singing the praises of the Ottawa Senators. I really like what they have been doing. And to trade away identity guy like that in the midst of a playoff race where you're in the second wild card spot, I thought that was crazy, honestly.
It's crazy. It just seems tone deaf, and we always hear GMs and coaches talking about rewarding the room.
Yeah.
This doesn't feel like rewarding the room. This feels like ripping the battery pack out of them.
Yo, Brady Tkachuk crying. That's wild. That's a way to reward the room.
Brilliant.
I'm higher on Dylan Cousins than I am Josh Norris. Like, long term.
Sure.
2 years, 5 years, whatever.
Yeah, I think long term, fair, super valid. I just don't think that, like, Ottawa needs to be worrying about the long term right now because they don't have a long term anyways.
Well, I don't know about that.
Oh, like they have Sanderson and Yakimchuk.
Sanderson, Yakimchuk, they
Pinto.
got Olmark, Pinto, Stützle, Brady. They got lots of runway here.
I just think that they've been playing well. I know you just said you're high on the Senators.
I am.
But like I really don't think that like if this move makes them better next year, Like I don't even think it's like a move that punts this season.
I agree with that.
I just think it's too early to be going in on like a deep run.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't have a problem with this like lateral move right now.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I don't hate that take. I do think there's a chance that Dylan Cousins could be a lot better than Josh Norris. But I also just agree. Like, when you finally have something for the fans to cheer for right now, and you take a huge part of that was playing on their top line, I mean, that's... I don't know. That very much wait and see on this one for me.
The only way I could justify it and make it make sense, I also hate Dennis Gilbert as an acquisition, but we don't need to talk about that.
Yeah.
He's just a plug.
Yeah.
Is that Cousins has a 91% in first assists, and Norris has 4%.
Yeah.
9%. Like that's a brutal drop off.
Yeah. I mean, the other
1%.
like
so.
Yeah.
And he's more of a perimeter guy. He's not going to be doing much besides shooting outside of the perimeter and in the top of the slot. That's just kind of his game.
Yeah.
Travis Green's brought a lot out of him, but it's still not enough. So my idea is that probably they just need someone to facilitate the puck more. I mean, you have Kachuk already.
You do.
You have Stützle already.
Yeah.
Like, you have guys who can finish. You have Pinto, who's shown the ability to finish.
For sure. This one's definitely wait and see for me, but it's going to be tough because the truth of the matter is Josh Norris is probably never going to be like relevant ever again because he's now a Buffalo Sabre.
Yes.
Sad. Next up, something I wanted to talk about here because
we called it.
Well, I didn't call where he was going.
I thought we said Winnipeg. We talked about it last episode.
Potentially. This is another one in private. Y'all can vouch. But I said this week that my hill I was dying on when people were asking me, like at the bar, regulars, clients I was talking to this week, along with some friends and stuff. My take on this trade deadline was Stanley Cup winners add Brandon Tanev.
That's what you're telling people at the bar?
I did. That was for real. Josh and Aaron.
Yeah.
They were asking me what to expect from this deadline, and my take was, I don't know why the team that adds Brandon Tanev is gonna win the Stanley Cup. It's just such a cup champion type move to add that type of guy with so much jump into a bottom six. Can't really doesn't have a ton of finishing ability, but he can finish. If someone goes down, you can bump him up and be fine. He's not good at anything, but he's got so much jump. I quite like Brandon Tanev as one of those depth adds. Now, the only problem is that it ended up being Winnipeg that picked him up. And as long as they ride Hellebuyck into the ground, I can't pick Hellebuyck to win the Stanley Cup. But for now, I'm going to ride on it until Hellebuyck dies. The other thing is, my fiance bought a Brandon Tanev jersey. Now, I don't know if y'all are tuned into the NHL shop or anything like that, but they were getting rid of some Adidas jerseys a couple weeks ago on clearance. The ones with names were cheaper than the blank ones. Carly, we went to the Seattle game last year with Jay. Carly likes the Seattle Kraken, and she likes the jerseys and all of that. She goes, I'll pick up a Seattle Kraken jersey. An Adidas authentic Seattle Kraken Brandon Tanev jersey went for $39.99 Canadian. Whoa.
Damn.
That came in the mail like 3 days ago. He gone.
It's a cruel world.
It's a cruel world. Off to Winnipeg he goes. My fiance, her first non-Canucks jersey is officially
outdated.
Yeah, it's an antique already. That's all I had to say about that.
That hurts.
That's all right.
No, I have one better.
Yeah.
I have one better. There's a guy on my team, my old ball hockey team. His name's Saul. And
Saul.
he was the summer camp like whatever he was like one of the overseers of the kids at the summer camp.
Sure.
One of the kids that was like under his supervision for the summer, Andrew Crystal.
Nice.
So he texts me.
Yep.
And he goes, "Hey, can you see if maybe I could get an autograph from Andrew Crystal after the game? Is there anywhere that like fans from the other team can like meet with those players
Sure.
if they come out?" I said, "Yeah, dog, I would love to do that."
Yep.
But he just got traded.
Oh.
And he said, "What do you mean?"
Womp womp.
I said, "Yeah, he just went to Spokane."
Nice.
And he was like, "Dog, I just finished checking out online for my Kelowna Andrew Crystal jersey."
Nice. Honestly, though,
Horrid.
that's a cool jersey to have.
It's a sick jersey to have.
If Andrew Crystal turns out, that's a cool jersey to have. I love when I see. I missed pulling the trigger once on a Manitoba Bo Horvat jersey, and I'll never forget that.
That'd be a cool one.
Yeah. Anyways, Scott Lawton, finally at 9:51 a.m., just hours before the trade deadline today, Big Bad Brad woke up in Toronto. I was getting hot, honestly. I was sending memes into the group chat. Poor Craig, friend of the show. I was getting ready to rip the Leafs. Sitting on their hands, watching things go by. Because at this point, we haven't gotten there yet because it wasn't official yet. The Rantanen stuff was already in the air. So they do it. They get their guy, Scott Lawton, for a conditional 2027 first-round pick, along with Nikita Grebenkin. Scott Lawton going to Toronto with a 2025 fourth and a 2027 sixth. Elliot Friedman said years ago, Scott Lawton may be worth a first-round pick. Turns out he was right. It took a little bit longer to get there than we thought, but they got it.
I mean, they had to sweeten the deal with a couple other late picks,
They did.
but
yeah, that's still worth you still got the first out of it.
You got there.
Good for them. Good for Philly. You have no use hanging on to Scott Lawton, let's be real.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Toronto, you needed to do something. Like, you really did. I'm not, like, loving this. Don't get me wrong, but I got no problem with Scott Lawton. Scott Lawton was an ESPN demon for me.
Yeah, and I mean, we avidly criticized Toronto for going and trying to look at the market for an expensive player.
Right.
We wanted them to get a depth forward or D.
Sure.
And they clearly addressed this, and they got a guy with grit and character that comes from just such a playoff-ready system. Like, I know the Flyers blow, but the way that Torts runs that team through a wall every day,
it's playoff hockey.
Exactly.
Yep.
And these guys know how to block shots because it's expected.
Yep.
They know how to finish hits because it's expected.
Indeed.
Like, I love this acquisition for Toronto because it's so much of what I feel they're missing in the back end is character and grit.
I completely agree. And then the big one happens. Mikko Rantanen, it broke last night at like whatever it was, 10 p.m., 11 p.m., something like that in Pacific time. Leaving way later on the East Coast. Mikko Rantanen probably going to the Dallas Stars. Okay, oh boy. Really now?
Yeah, and they were going to stay up all night burning the oil to make sure that it would go through first thing in the morning. And then I woke up this morning to they weren't getting it done.
No. As like Friedman tweeted this morning, well, they're negotiating the extension with Dallas, and if once that goes through, this trade's going through, I was like, this guy's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. And sure enough, 10:21 a.m., at the buzzer, Mikko Rantanen signs the 8-year, $12 million per year extension with the Dallas Stars. He is going to be there for a very long time.
Yeah. What really baffled me about this was, didn't Carolina say they offered 12.5 like earlier?
Yup.
Okay.
You got to wonder, maybe not with the 8th year, but that seems ridiculous. Maybe it's an income tax thing. Carolina, though, not exactly a high income tax state, lower cost of living state. So I don't know what happened there. Maybe it just went so back and forth for so long that he was just like, you know what, Carolina's kind of mucked me around here. I could live in Dallas. Let's do it. You know what I mean?
Dallas definitely has a better outlook.
Yeah.
There's no way around it. I like what this does for Carolina because at least they didn't get completely raked over the coals either.
No, I mean, so they get Logan Stankoven back.
Which is, you had to be kicking yourself for getting rid of him in the first place, no?
Yeah, it's not nothing, that's for sure. You get 2 first-round picks, both conditional, top 10 protected, but Dallas, they're not going to be in the top 10 anyways. And then 2 third-round picks, 26 and 27. I mean, look, Carolina fumbled this whole thing pretty badly. They are decidedly worse than they were before they first traded for Mikko Rantanen.
Absolutely. As Nate just said, they probably should have checked if he wanted to sign before they traded for him.
Probably.
Whoops.
However, they did get a decent haul here, and you got to imagine they're looking to flip probably both of these picks, considering neither of them are this year. You know what I mean?
You would have to think so.
Yeah, they're gonna have to.
There's no logic in keeping them. You could if you absolutely gave up on everything tomorrow, but it's not a logical stance to take. Carolina's been banging on the door for years.
Yeah.
And they're probably going to be very much like the Florida Panthers, where they're just going to keep smashing their head on the wall until they find a way to break through.
Yep, 100%. 100%. Tough scenes in Carolina. Jay, do you have a feeling about any of this?
I love this move for Dallas.
Yeah.
That's honestly it.
I mean, yeah.
I'm moved.
What more can you say? Dallas, they pick up one of the best wingers on planet Earth. He's been pretty bad since joining Carolina, but obviously could be a lot of different factors. He's gone like a month later. So
I mean, yeah, think about it. He had to move. He had to worry about selling his home, whereas I don't know if he has a family, but probably where his family's going to stay.
It is crazy. Like the human element of it is crazy, right? Because not only like for Mikko Rantanen's last 2 months, he goes from he's been living in Colorado, living his life there for years,
very stably,
and thinks he's going to stay. All of a sudden gets moved to Carolina. Very different place from Colorado. From Denver, Colorado, right?
Absolutely there, partner.
That's right. And then to go, oh, okay, Dallas, a place that's not really close, that I've never lived in, and I haven't even stepped foot there yet. I'm going to ink myself into living there for the next 8 years. That's got to be crazy on your mental.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that even more so than that, like having to come into a new team in Carolina and then have them try and just gouge the shit out of you for a contract that the rest of the league would easily hand you.
Yeah.
Like it at a certain point you have to be like, dog, just stop talking to me.
Yeah. 100%.
Like unless you're going to be knocking on my door tomorrow with 13.5.
Yeah.
Fuck
Fuck off.
Because, like, I can get it on free agency. Or I can move somewhere right now for 12 and have a career set out for the rest of my life, basically.
Yeah. You know, it's such a shame that it's what we're likely headed for so early in the playoffs. But that Dallas-Colorado first-round series is going to be a heater.
I can't wait to hear the boos. I don't know if anyone else out there agrees with me, but I love when an arena boos the shit out of someone.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Jamie's better chance.
Yeah.
You think Mikko's getting booed? Are we talking about that?
Yeah, I think he is.
I don't think he's getting booed at first, but I think near the end of a 7-game playoff series, a heated one at that, it's possible. He's definitely not getting booed when he comes back. I mean, he got traded. It wasn't his fault.
He's getting a thank you reel for sure,
ovation.
a standing O, and then as soon as he touches the puck during the game, The boos are going to come.
Wow. He's going to have to score some big goals in some big games for that, I think. I think that he's built up a lot of goodwill in Colorado, and he clearly wanted to stay. However,
it's like the ex that moves down the street.
I will say, we have a Dallas-Colorado game coming up, don't we? In Colorado next Sunday.
9 days from now.
Must-watch TV right there.
Absolutely. Circle
TNT.
it.
TNT broadcast.
At noon.
So then, finally, that came through late. It was kind of weird and up in the air all day. And then finally, after the buzzer, 12 o'clock hit. And a couple minutes later, what trickles in? A Friedman bomb. I'm hearing Brad Marchand to the Florida Panthers.
That's crazy.
And here we are. It took a while for us to get the confirmation on the full deal, but it's pretty straight. Brad Marchand to the Florida Panthers. Going back to Boston is a conditional 2027 second-round pick that becomes a first if Brad Marchand plays 50% of the team's playoff games and Florida wins 2 rounds. Boston retains 50% of Marchand's salary. We also find out that right before they moved him, they offered him a contract that was 2 years at $3 million a year.
He's not taking that.
Okay, Tampa.
Disrespectful. Just make the trade.
Boston and Tampa disrespecting their Hall of Famer captains.
Yeah, like, don't talk to me.
What's happening here? Heater alert. Heater alert.
Kachuk and Marchand.
And Bennett.
All on the same team.
Possibly all on the same line.
Whew.
That's someone on Instagram said that's actual terrorism. And I have a hard time disagreeing with it.
It's bullying in the highest degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually think you can't put them all on the same line. I think you put one on each of your top 3 lines so that no matter what, at all times, you have to deal with one of them.
Absolutely. That's absolutely what I think too. Like, that's a nightmare.
Okay, so let me tell you what needs to happen now.
Okay, what needs to happen?
The Tampa Bay Lightning currently are in 3rd place in the Atlantic.
Okay.
They are 3 points back with 1 game at hand of first.
Right.
They have to win the Atlantic. They need to win the Atlantic because those poor Maple Leafs finally get a season where they're going to make the playoffs and the Boston Bruins aren't. And if Tampa Bay wins the division, they are going to have to play Marchand in the first round anyway. Craig, are you good, brother? Ben, are you okay, brother?
It's a nightmare you can't escape. Freddy Krueger, he's playing with you. He's back.
Run from it. Hide from it.
What's really terrible about a lot of how it would shake out is that I don't think there's a matchup the Leafs are going to be happy with regardless. I think they just have too much compound trauma.
No, look, the Leafs for their sake have to win the Atlantic. For their own sake, right? They're 2 points back right now with the game in hand on the Panthers. And the Panthers, yes, they added Marchand today. He's hurt right now. Matthew Tkachuk is still hurt as well. You need to give yourself the opportunity to play Ottawa or Columbus in the first round. Because guess what? You play Tampa or the Panthers, you're cooked.
Absolutely.
Sorry. Good night. It's another first round tragedy for Toronto if they finish 2nd or 3rd in that division.
Yeah, that's absolutely what I was thinking, is you're going to be boned unless you win this division because it is such a slugfest.
But I really just want to see I want to see Toronto play Marchand in the first round.
I don't want to watch Florida bully Toronto around. I want to watch Florida Tampa. I don't know why.
I'd love to see that series in round 2. That feels like it feels like Dallas, Colorado in the first round, where it's like that's a crazy matchup for the first round of the playoffs.
True. And you have to then come to terms with the fact that one of those teams won't be in the playoffs anymore.
Yeah.
Which is also just tough.
It is, exactly, right? For both of those teams to not get out of the first round. The only other option I'd like to see is Toronto play Tampa. Tampa would win. And Florida play Ottawa, because you get the Kachuk battle out the gate.
That would be prime time television.
Wouldn't that be sick? And then possibly the Battle of Florida in the second round.
That
for sure, the Battle of Florida in the second round, but whatever.
That's how I'd script it. If I was a WWE scriptwriter, I'd be penciling that in right now.
Gary, take notes. Gary, take notes. No, Demon Time. A hockey legend. Brad Marchand, love him or hate him. Florida's the new Vegas. They get him right after the clock seems like it's done ticking. But then we get one more. Toronto. And Boston again involved as well. Brandon Carlo to Toronto. I don't mind that.
Yeah, I guess Boston's Wi-Fi was lagging or something.
Yeah, maybe. They get Fraser Minton in return, along with a conditional 2026 first-round pick and a 2025 fourth-round pick. That 2026 is top 5 protected. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, good for Toronto. You get a defenseman. Chris Dano's been hurt. Don't hate that.
It's exactly what I was saying they needed to do.
Yeah.
They needed another defenseman. They didn't need to go out and get a massive scoring player. We talked about already with Scott Lawton. They had 2 needs. They addressed both of them.
Yeah.
I don't love Brandon Carlo. We've already talked about this. I've been on record. He's just fine. He's just fine.
Yeah, he is just fine.
And that's kind of the thing, is like, I don't really think it's a thing that moves the needle to the point where Toronto now is a bona fide shoe-in for the finals.
Sure.
Like a lot of these other trades you look at and you're like, wow, this team has serious potential for a run.
Sure.
I feel like this doesn't extend Toronto's run as much as it just sustains their ability to stay in the hunt for first and avoid total debacle.
Yeah. Those poor Leafs. I'm so sorry.
He's just a very fine shutdown defenseman.
Yeah.
If he's
he's
on the third pairing in the playoffs, you're going to be amazing.
You're very happy with that, yeah.
Yeah, but same issue with Coyle with Boston.
Yeah.
If you play him too high, you're going to be very disappointed very quickly.
Sure.
And I'll have to say I told you so, and I don't want to today.
I love it. That's pretty much our deadline. A couple other little ones trickle in. I love that Shea Weber got traded today.
Yeah, no one answered me in the group chat. I was like, it's crazy that Shea Weber's still getting traded, is it not? And crickets.
I didn't even see it. Yeah, but he did. Just on paper, I'm sure he didn't go any. I wonder, does he have to report anywhere when he gets traded? His contract gets traded? If y'all know, please let me know in the comments, because I actually don't know.
I know he has to report to like an NHL appointed doctor every season to approve his LTIR status for that year.
Yeah.
Which is kind of silly, because like obviously he's like not going to recover from that. But that's about all that I know. I think he just gets to stay at home, though. I wouldn't make him show up. But
no. So that's about it. Winners of the deadline. You said the Pittsburgh Penguins. That's your winner for the deadline.
Yeah. Pittsburgh winners of sellers for sure.
Do you have a straight winner of winners?
Winner of winners? I'm gonna have to go with Colorado.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of people are really heavy on Florida. I know that, but the lines just make so much sense in Colorado now.
Yeah.
I really, really have faith that a lot of things are gonna gel there really quickly.
I like that a lot. Jonesy, you got a winner of the deadline?
I don't know. I'm juggling between the 3 obvious ones.
Yeah, that's the
that
thing,
being
right?
Florida, Dallas, and Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
I really did want to avoid saying Dallas on my take because, like, obviously.
I know we're about to get into the losers.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna get into it right now.
Yeah, let's just get into the losers because we all know who the winners are.
I'm actually, and we spoke on this briefly in the group chat, but I'm disappointed in Tampa.
Are you?
Because, like, I just feel like, I don't know.
I
thought they needed to go even more in.
Right.
Than just Gord and Bjorkstrand.
Yeah. That's understandable. I like that move for them. But yeah, they definitely could have gone further in.
I know a lot of people are really upset about Stamkos not being moved back to Tampa, but the reality of Wolf is right, and the reality of the situation is they weren't going to pay him $7 million in the first place. What changed in his last 6 terrible months?
Well, yeah.
That makes you want to pay that $7 million now?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Literally nothing. I think that Tampa kind of won considering what they had and how jacked the market got. Granted, kind of by their own doing, but.
Can I give you my biggest loser? The Washington Capitals.
Agree.
The Washington Capitals added what? Anthony Beauvillier?
That's it.
That's everything. That is all the Washington Capitals did on deadline day. In a season where they're number 1 in their division right now, they just got struck with the gift of God by Jack Hughes' death and Carolina fumbling this, losing Natchez and then Rantanen. They have been given the easiest walk to the third round that the Metro Division has had in probably a decade.
Easily.
They have 2 of the most inconsistent players in the entire sport in Pierre-Luc Dubois and Jacob Chychrun humming right now. You have 97-year-old Alex Ovechkin humming right now. You may never get another opportunity like this.
No, you probably won't.
You are probably the number 1 candidate to be the Vancouver Canucks of last year and fall off the face of the earth next year.
Hands down, without a doubt.
Why did you not push your chips in? Drove me crazy. All day I was waiting on him.
I was too. I was really waiting for a big move. I don't know what I expected, though. Like,
I guess, yeah.
They weren't going to go for Marchand. It doesn't make sense.
Of course not, no.
Rantanen certainly doesn't make sense.
Why not? Why not?
Because why?
Because why not? That, in my eyes, is the one thing Washington lacks. They have very, very few holes throughout their lineup. They're a very deep team, but they don't have elite talent. The only one they do is they have an elite finisher in Alex Ovechkin, but that's all he does is finish.
I think they're just trying to keep the lights on until Ovechkin leaves. And I just don't think that they want to overcommit themselves to a timeline that's unrealistic, especially because what they've been given this year is nothing short of a gift. It's an absolute treat for them to be first and a shoe-in for the playoffs at this stage.
It is.
Especially with Ovechkin being gone for 14 games with a broken leg.
Exactly.
Which should have been 28.
So go all in. You don't have to sign Rantanen. But you shouldn't sign Rantanen.
But then you're just giving away 2 firsts, a high prospect, and a 5th or something but the rebuild's around the corner. You know?
It ain't here yet.
It's knocking, though. It's right there. It's like you're in hospice.
The Washington Capitals could probably walk to the third round this year. They will never get another opportunity like this. And you know what? Through Ovi's career, they've never once gotten it. How long did they have to fight Jays Penguins tooth and nail to get out of that second round? You have 1 shot left with your Hall of Fame guy who's about to break the goal record this season. If you could turn this season where Alex Ovechkin breaks the goals record of all time into a deep playoff run and potentially a Stanley Cup, how do you not take that opportunity? Who cares about the future?
I agree.
Who cares?
I agree. I just don't think that Rantanen was the move. But I don't know. I don't see the Capitals.
Brock Besser?
See, that makes sense. But I think the Canucks, and I wanted to get into this, so thank you. I think the Canucks are just too addicted to sniffing the ink from the pens that they well from. I think they're just sitting there huffing Sharpies all goddamn day because this team is addicted to signing guys as soon as they get them in the door.
My other biggest loser of trade deadline day is the Vancouver Canucks. I was furious. You're absolutely correct. I was furious. I was watching these prices this morning, and throughout the week, I've been pretty adamant about sitting on the fence on Brock Besser. You know, we talked last week, is a second and a fifth enough for you to move Brock Besser? No. If that's...
A first is, though. Or a first and a third, or...
A first is, though. And then I start seeing these frickin' trades happen. I see the Bjorkstrand one. I go, okay, it's Tampa, but still, there's first there. I see Scott Lawton on the move, and I'm just like, Rutherford, wake up! Wake up from your... What are you, Lou Lamoriello, dude? Get out of bed. Get on the phone. And then what happens? We pass the deadline. Brock Besser is neither traded nor extended. And the word is they're not even close on an extension.
Beautiful. I'm not super concerned about their ability to re-sign him. I think he wants to stay, and I think they want him to stay. I just think that it's the wrong move, and they're too afraid of being snake bit again. And it's a damn shame, because this is a team that could really use a shakeup.
Yeah. They've already committed to it. They are in the midst of a shakeup. You trade away JT Miller, you are legitimately, you have decided to shake up the roster. So now commit. Stop being a little... I couldn't believe it. I was shook. And even Pius Suter. That guy's he's had 2 great seasons in a row. I mean, they've been talking about how highly touted he's going to be as a 3C in free agency. It's like, why did you not mind value for him? Look what they were going for.
Yeah. No, absolutely. That's something that you should have done.
It gave me flashbacks for real to, there was that deadline where they held on to Hamhuis and Verbata after the deadline.
I remember this.
After they had a trade in hand with the Dallas Stars and the owner vetoed it because he wanted to see them make the playoffs. I'm having flashbacks, I'm telling you. I don't like to see it.
That's a nightmare. That's just such a frickin' nightmare. Good grief.
They still could keep Brock Besser, don't get me wrong, but they're so far off, and you've just lost all the leverage.
That was exactly where I was going to take this, is that you've now completely conceded ball to his court.
Mm-hmm.
It's his serve. And he could just walk away. And that's fine, because he can get paid somewhere else.
Yeah.
And somewhere with less tax, less cost of living.
Yeah.
Maybe closer to home.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't get it. You should have found the value. I was team don't trade him because the value won't be there.
Right.
Until I saw the market at 9 a.m. And it was like, holy shit. You need to capitalize on this.
Yeah. And then Patrick Alvin, about 10 minutes after the deadline, does a presser and he goes, you guys wouldn't believe some of the offers we got on Besser. There was just no market. And it's like, I simply do not believe you.
I 100% don't believe you. And I think he told the truth a little bit. I do think he told the truth just a smidgen.
Sure.
But you got to read between the lines.
Yes.
Because the exact quote was, if I told you what I got offered for Besser, I would have to run out of here. Yeah, you would. Because we'd all be furious you didn't take it, you stupid.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that was closer to the truth than what he led that sentence with.
Yeah.
But now
it's unbelievable.
Now you give the guy the chance to walk, to give you the old Kachuk.
Yeah. Worse, Kachuk was an RFA. They got players for him.
Yeah. No, now he's just walking.
He's gonna Johnny Tavares, yeah.
I mean, I hate to be like the armchair GM, but like, you know, that's also partially our jobs.
Yeah.
But that seems like just hockey Ops 101. That's just what you do. You have a UFA, you're struggling, you're in the midst of a shakeup. That's when you move them.
And you're far away on contract talks. Like, yeah, that's it. It's just night and day. And, you know, it just feels like as a Canucks fan who, like I said, it gave me flashbacks to the Hammies for Bada thing. It feels like when you get a sequel to an album you didn't want 20 years later. And you're like, no, why we're doing this again?
Yeah, this is the...
I thought we learned, you know?
This is
Missionary. Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre's new album.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like,
this is Solo Dolo
y'all.
Part 2.
Come on, y'all.
Glad I had Kendrick on it. Did I need it? Not at all.
Yeah, so that's all. I'm very thankful that Elias Pettersson had a fantastic game tonight and the Canucks won, because I was pretty mad about the Canucks and the Washington Capitals as well. But I think that wraps up our deadline.
I think so too. I'm content on everything we covered.
I'm very happy to be sitting here with y'all for our 100th episode. It really is special. Jay, this is we looked back at it today. Jay's first episode was episode 37.
Really?
Yeah.
Pimp My Pride was Jonesy's first episode.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Damn, what a heavy topic to just dive right into. Welcome to the show, buddy. Today you're getting waterboarded.
Yeah, welcome, Jay. I mean, since then, we've talked so much. We've spent so many hours in this room. We've set this studio up multiple different ways. We've gone with cameras, without cameras. We've fought technical difficulties through the wazoo. And it's just been a blast. And just thank both of you for all of it. And thank you to every single listener that's been listening to all of these episodes. It's been a blast, and I can't wait to do a ton more.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate all of this. This has been incredible. Jay, thank you for stepping in when we needed a producer. You've been phenomenal. I'm so thankful for your presence. I have such a good time here.
Appreciate it.
This is like the highlight of my week. Like,
it's a fun time.
It's really easy to show up to work when you're doing something you love.
Yeah.
With some of your favorite people.
Yeah.
Like, it's just incredible. The atmosphere is always amazing. And we always find a way to make it work, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
This team's resilient, it's crafty, and I just am so thankful to have all the love and camaraderie in this room, and so thankful again to all the fans that have tuned in over the years. If you have been tuning in over the years and you haven't liked and subscribed yet,
what y'all doing?
Come on now. Hit it. And to those of you that have, thank you so much. It really, really does mean the world to us. To those of you that haven't, again,
do it.
Do that. Come on. You know, it's 100. Give us
100
a little
episodes.
gift. Yeah, there you go. But thank you. Thank you for having us in your homes, in your cars, in your workouts, on your walks, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thank you for making time for us. I know that life has a lot of demands on everyone, and it's not easy, but we appreciate you making 30 minutes to an hour every week.
Yes.
To listen to a couple bozos chat about a game we all love.
That's right. So yeah. Thank you once again to you guys. Thank you to Jonesy. Thank you to you, Tro.
Thank you.
Thank you to THPN for hosting us and working with us. We appreciate that greatly.
Shout out Believe.
Shout out to Believe as well, our other parent network. Shout out to all of our guests. Shout out to Jackson. Shout out to Ben. Shout out to Austin, our OG producer.
Shout out Austin, miss you, bud.
And y'all can see I got my Gretzky shirt on today.
Nice shirt, by the way.
Came in.
Beautiful.
If you like that, make sure to check it out on our website. That's at sticktalkhockey.square.site. As always, I'm Tico. This is my co-host.
I'm yours truly.
There's our producer.
Producer Jay.
Keep your dang head up.
Keep your head up.
Boom.
Boom.
Stick talk. Stick talk. Stick talk. Stick.